Okay, so this is the overview of the last lecture. So last lecture we have started this particular rolling nomenclature where we have seen three particular what is meant by initial thickness, final thickness, theta, contact angle, vi, vf, r. Then we have gone through this some parameters like force, then draft. Is it right? Draft is nothing but reduction in thickness. Then we have gone for elongation, how much length is increased. Then lateral spread. So that is also because as thickness is reduced, length and width is going to be increased. So that we have studied. Then we have gone for this backward and forward slip. Then roll angle, how that theta is to be calculated, or the how that x is to be calculated. X is nothing but ti minus tf divided by 2. And then again theta, how it is calculated. So that theta formula is in root ti minus tf divided by r, that is roll radius. Then we have gone for this length, contact length L, roll pressure PR. Okay, then bit angle we have just, that is friction angle we have calculated. Minimum friction we have just calculated, or formula we have decided just gone for this. Then softening, rolling, and then backing. What do you mean by backing roller? We have seen that 2 high rolling wheel and 4 high rolling wheel, and we have seen that backing rollers, as pressure is proportional to the radius. Radius increased, roll separating pressure may be increased. So we are keeping the contact rollers smaller and backing rollers larger in 4 eye rolling mill, that example we have taken. Then our today's point is this example. So let's take some examples. So these are the such examples it can be asked in GATE. Okay, so what is the example? First example, a strip with cross section 160 mm into 8 mm being rolled with 25% reduction of area using 500 mm diameter rolls. So there is a one strip is given, metallic strip may be there, which is having the cross section of 160 mm length and 8 mm particular width is there, and through its particular we can call it as a, through its thickness it is reduced by 25%. Means let's consider that if it is of 10 mm, then it is converted into 7.5 mm. Like this 25% reduction is there. And for that, what are the rollers are used? That rollers are having diameter of 500 mm. So R is equal to 250 mm. Determine the angle subtended by the deformation zone at roll center. So we have to find that theta. We have to calculate the theta. So given data is with us. What is that given data? This is the given data. So Ti, initial thickness, let's, if it is considered 8 mm, then Tf is equal to Ti 1 minus 25. That means 25% reduction is there. If I consider 8 is a 1, then I have to calculate value for 0.75. So that is 6 mm. R is given, that is 250 mm. Okay, so this is the given data. Then angle in radians subtended by the deformation zone on the roll center is, so this is the formula of theta. What is the theta? Theta is equal to in root Ti minus Tf divided by R. All values are with you. Just you have to put these values. So 8 minus 6 divided by 250. Everything is mm. So that mm will be get cancelled and it is comes into radians. So what is the theta value? 0.089 radian. So how much time you require to solve such examples? Everything is given to you. Then we have to just use the formula. What is the formula? We have to remember that formula and put the values in that formula and calculate it. So this is the one of the gate example. Then let's take another gate example. A strip is to be rolled from, a strip is to be rolled from thickness of 40 mm to 25 mm. So thickness reduction is given. Ti is given to you. Ti is 40 mm. Tf is 25 mm. Using two high rolling mills, or using two high rolling mill having roll diameter of 450 mm. So roll diameter is given to you. What should be the approximate coefficient of friction for unaided bite? So we have to calculate here mu value, coefficient of friction, that mu. Again, just we will go for solution. So the value of minimum coefficient of friction is specified value of Ti minus Tf is given by this particular formula. Mu minimum is equal to Ti minus Tf divided by R. Again, that value is in root. So Ti is given 40 mm, Tf is given 25 mm, and R is 225. So if you put these values here in this same formula, you will get mu minimum, that is 0.26. So mu, that is the angle of coefficient, is there. So that coefficient, it doesn't have any coefficient, doesn't have any unit. So this is the particular mu minimum. So in previous case, we have solved the example for calculation of theta. Here we have solved this similar type of example for mu minimum, that is coefficient of friction. If you take another simple example, a sheet of 30 mm thickness is rolled to 20 mm thickness. So Ti is given, Tf is given, thickness, both thicknesses are given to us. Initial thickness 30 mm, final thickness 20 mm. So 10 mm thickness is reduced by 650 mm diameter rolls. So roller diameter is given. So what will be the radius? It should be 325. Rotating at 120 pm. Rotating at 120 rpm. So what is that 120 rpm? Why it is given? It is just a confusing. For some part it is given. Calculate the roll strip contact length. L we have to find. So this is the given data. Ti is equal to 30 mm, Tf is equal to 20 mm, R is equal to 650 divided by 2 is equal to 325 mm. Roll strip contact length, L. What is the formula of L? In root R into Ti minus Tf. So if you put this particular values here, Ti, Tf and R, you will get the answer that 57 mm. L is equal to in root R into Ti minus Tf. So 57 mm. What is meant by 57 mm? For that 57 mm, the contact is there. So whatever that contact arc is there, that will be for 57 mm length. So like this. So these are very simple examples. Just by using one formula, you can easily, one or two formulas maximally, you can solve it. Okay, let's take. So this is the examples. So go for some cold working. Cold working of steel is defined as. So what is meant by cold working steel? Cold working of steel. So this is the GATE 2003 question. So at its recrystallization temperature, above its recrystallization temperature, below its recrystallization temperature, at 2/3 of its melting point of the metal. So if you look at 2/3 of melting point, again it is nothing but recrystallization temperature. So cold working of steel. Cold working, how it is, where it is carried out? It is carried out below recrystallization temperature. So just a definition of cold working. So we should know what is the definition of cold working. What is the definition of cold working? A forming process is called cold working if it is done at the temperature below than the recrystallization temperature. So where is the option below recrystallization temperature? It is C. So your answer must be C. If it is above recrystallization temperature, it is called as hot working. So such type of questions will be asked for gate. Whatever previous examples are there or whatever this question is there, it is asked in the gate. Okay, sometimes such type of multiple choice 1 mark question. So this is the 1 mark question. Sometimes 1 mark question may be there, sometimes 2 mark question, or whatever the examples are there. It is also maybe asked for 1 mark. The options are given to you. Is it right? But whatever data is given to us, how that it is used, how that data is used, and how that particular example is solved by using simple formulas that we are looking for here. Next, so here the question is like this: coefficient of friction plays an important role in forming process and is very important in calculating the force involved. It is in the range of, so if you have gone through the study carefully, you will easily give the answer. So in cold forming, in hot forming, the difference point at that time I have told you that coefficient of friction, how it acts in cold forming and how it acts in hot forming. In hot forming, coefficient of friction is more because there may be the chance of sticking the material to the rollers. In cold forming, it is less. So answer is A. 0.1 in cold forming and 0.6 in hot forming. Why? Because at the time of difference, I told you that in hot forming, there is a chance of sticking the materials to the roll. So their friction is more. Friction is more means we have to push the material little bit more as compared to the cold forming. In cold forming, as it is carried out at room temperature, there is a no sticking of the material will takes place and little bit less friction is required. Is it right? So that is, we have already discussed in theory part. Definition of cold working, definition of hot working, that is also discussed in the theory part. And based on that only, the questions will be there in the GATE exam. Okay, the questions in the GATE exams are based on this particular theoretical part. It may be of some MCQ type or based on your particular calculating example form. Okay, so if you are knowing that particular formulas very well, easily you can solve that examples, or if you are knowing the theory very well, you can easily give the answers of such a simple questions. Let's take one more example. What is that? In rolling process, the sheet of 25 mm thickness is rolled to 20 mm thickness. So TI is given, TI is 25 mm, roll TF is 20 mm, roll diameter of 600 mm, and it rotates at 100 RPM. This is the example which is previous to that. Again, here you have to calculate the L, the roll strip contact length will be. What is the formula of L? In root R multiplied by TI minus TF. So this is the given data. So this is the 2000. These are the options for which for this particular example. So what is the given data? Given data is this much: TI, TF, and particular R. Is it right? So just calculate the particular roll strip contact length. Don't confuse here, it is converted into meter, that's why it is written 0.25. Instead of that mm, it should be m. Again tf, and whatever the roll diameter is there, it is converted into meter. So whatever the roll strip angle is there, it comes into the meter, or it may be come into mm if you use as it is. Then roll strip angle, so that is the particular L is equal to in root R into Ti minus Tf. In root R multiply by in bracket Ti minus Tf. If you put these values, you will get 38.7298 mm. So that is similar to, or that is nearer to 39 mm. So options may be always given in full form many times. So this is the closer answer, which is B. So answer is B. So here your answer is there. So same thing, either they will ask the question on a particular mathematical point, or they will ask the question on theoretical point. Okay, this is again one more example. A 4 mm thick sheet is rolled with 300 mm diameter roll to reduce the thickness without any change in the width. What is given? So we have to focus on such a words. What words? Any change in its width. So if width is not changed, because already we have discussed, when thickness is reduced, length and width is going to be changed. But here what is given? Without changing any its width. Width is not changed means definitely length is increased. The friction coefficient at the roll work roll interference is 0.1. So mu value is given to you. The minimum possible thickness of sheet can be produced in single pass is. So you have to calculate here TF. So TF you have to calculate, and for that what is given to you? So there are few points are there which is given for us. These are nothing but, this is 2006 gate. So these are the options. First they are given, then solution. What is the given data? Ti is given to us. Ti is 4 mm. Is it right? So 4 mm thick sheet is rolled with 300 mm diameter. So R is given. What is the R value? 300 divided by 2, as it is 300 mm diameter, 150 mm. Mu is given to us 0.1. So we are knowing the mu formula, where Ti and R is known, mu is known. Just we have to calculate TF. So TF we have to calculate. The maximum thickness of rolled sheet is possible. Just to put the values in this particular formula, mu is equal to Ti minus Tf divided by R. Put the values of Ti, put the values of R, put the values of mu. Whatever this root is there, make the square of both the sides, then shift to this side, and you will get the TF value. TF value is 2.5 mm. TF value is coming as 2.5 mm. So 2.5 where it is there? It is in C option. So this is the answer. C is the correct answer for this particular example. In previous examples, Ti, Tf and R is given to us, and we have to calculate either strip length or mu or theta. But here in this example, they have given us the coefficient of friction value. Ti is given, roll diameter is given. Based on that we can easily calculate the roll radius, and Tf is asked. Okay, so like this way, and all of you are knowing, if one unknown is there, then easily we can calculate that unknown. Is it right? So like this way only we can solve these types of examples. These are very simple examples. These are not that much difficult examples are there, but just we have to give little bit concentration. Simple formulas, these 3-4 formulas of coefficient of friction, that mu formula, theta formula, L formula, that is the strip length, and theta contact angle formula. If you remember these 3-4 formulas, and rolling theory, what I mean by hot rolling, what I mean by cold rolling, what is the or what is meant by hot working, that is above recrystallization, below recrystallization, how that recrystallization temperature is calculated, 0.3 to 0.6 of melting point. So these some key points of this particular chapter, if you keep in your mind, then the GATE examples will become very easy. These are not difficult examples, but because of lack of some confidence or because of lack of some knowledge, we are unable to solve these examples. One more example, the thickness of metallic sheet is reduced from its initial value of 16 mm to the final value of 10 mm. So Ti is given 16 mm, final value Tf is given 10 mm in a one single pass of rolling with the pair of cylindrical rollers, each of diameter 400 mm. Then the bite angle in degree will be, so we have to calculate theta. Previously we have calculated the theta in radian. Now we have to calculate it into degree. So these are the options given to you. These four options are there. Which angle is there? So we have to just solve it. Given data. So Ti is given, Tf is given, and R is given. Bit angle is determined as tan theta. So tan theta. So tan theta is equal to Ti minus Tf divided by R into the root. So whatever the tan theta value will be coming, so you have to take that tan inverse value. So that tan inverse value is 9.836 degree, and the answer is C. So C answer is the correct answer here. So just again tan theta formula, mu formula, and L, that is roll strip length. Bit angle, it may be asked in radian or it may be asked in degree. Formula is same, Ti minus Tf divided by R, in root Ti minus Tf divided by R. So that we have to clear. This is one more, that is the GATE 2012 example. In single pass rolling process using 410 mm diameter steel rollers, the strip of width 140 mm and thickness 8 mm undergoes 10% reduction of the thickness. So 10% reduction. So what is the initial thickness? 8 mm. We have to find out the Tf first. How to calculate Tf? 10 mm, 10% is reduced. So 8's 10%, it coming 0.8. Is it right? It coming 0.8. So 8 minus 0.8, so 7.2 mm. So initial thickness Ti is 8 mm, reduced thickness or Tf is equal to 7.2 mm, and diameter is given, width is given. So we have to calculate angle of bite in radian. Here it is asked in radian, and these are the particular options. Given data. What is given data? R is given to us. 410 divided by 2 is equal to, or 410 by divided by 2, 205 mm, or keep as it is. Ti is 8 mm. Then reduce a 10% reduction is there. That means the final thickness is remaining to 90% of the original thickness, or 10% is reduced. So you have to calculate it, 0.9 into 8 or 0.1 into 8, and that should be minus from 8 mm. So that will be the particular Ti and Tf values. Therefore bit angle is determined as, so tan theta, again bit angle, so Ti minus Tf divided by R. So if you put the values here, you will easily get the values. Theta is equal to 0.0624695 radian. Which is the closer answer? C is the closer answer, 0.062. So that will be the angle in the radian. This is the one more. So such type of examples will be there in our volume.
Sir. Hello.
So as we have completed rolling point, let's talk about forging, manufacturing processes. One of the important point is forging. So what do you mean by forging? So forging involves forming of the material by the application of localized compressive force exerted manually or with power hammers, press, or special forging machines. So if we go for hand hammering also, it is also called as forging. Rather, it is called as hand forging. If we are using machines, we can call it as the machine forging. In that again, two types are there. Either you can use the hammers or you can use the press. So there is a basic question: what is the difference between hammer and press? Okay, so these such a questions may be there for your interview if you are applying for basic core companies or GATE exam or some MNCs industries which are core mechanical. They will ask you such particular things. What is power hammer? So power hammer is just given name as it is driven by power, but basic name is hammers and press. So what is the difference between hammer and press? That also we have to understand. The process can be carried out on material in either hot or in cold state. Generally, it is hot working operation. Why? Because in the particular forging, we are using dies, upper die and lower die. And in that die, whatever the shape is there, in that particular shape, we are squeezing the material. So when material is in cold state or material is at room temperature, it is very difficult to squeeze. Why? Can anybody answer me? Why cold working forging or cold forging is very difficult? Do you remember anything? Anyone, can you reply me? Can you give me answer? Why cold working is not possible at room temperature?
Sir, it depend upon recrystallization.
Yeah, it is depending upon recrystallization, or rather at cold working condition or at room temperature, the flowability of the material is very, very less, or we can call it as it is not negligible, it is rigid one. So what do you mean by flowability? If you take the one glass of water and if you put it on the particular floor, then the water will be flow in any direction. If that water you put on the glass, again it will start to flow. That means that water has flowability. But if you take the one rod and keep on the floor or keep on the glass table or keep anywhere, after 4 years, 5 years, 4 days, 5 days, 5 months, 4 months, 5 years, 4 years, if you come back, that rod will be remain as it is. If no one is misplaced it or no one is lift it or no one has changed its position, it will be remain as it is, because at room temperature material is not flowable, it is rigid one. But when you heat that particular material, that material become flowable. So if you take the example of casting, in casting we are creating the cavity, and in that cavity we are pouring the molten metal. Why molten metal is poured? Because at molten condition flowability of the material is very, very high. But here forging, here we are not going for the particular molten condition. We are not, if we use the two dies having certain shapes, and in that die if we put the molten metal, it become die casting. Then in forging, material is heated above recrystallization temperature, and that whatever the grains are there, it becomes softer. That's why when you put that heated material in the dies, and if you apply the external force, the material will flow in that cavities, and that shape material will take. Or if you heat the material and you can start the hammering with your hand also, because of that hammer force, the material will start to bend or material will start to change its shapes, because it becomes softer as it gets heated. If material is not heated, if it is at room temperature, material is become rigid one, it resists to change its shape. That is called rigidity. And because of that rigidity, in cold working condition, the material flowability is less or negligible, and material will not flow in the cavity. So whatever we required shape is there, it is not achieved. Okay, that's why material is heated above recrystallization temperature. That's why we call it as forging is mostly the hot working process. Yes, forging can be done at room temperature or at for cold materials also, but for that we required lot of power, lot of energy, and because of that lot of power or lot of energy during process, there may be the chance of failure. That's why we avoid that, and we are going for hot working operation or hot forging methods. We are using hot forging methods. Forged parts have good strength and toughness. So there are again two concepts is there. What is meant by toughness and what is meant by strength? Or if I take the example of glass, can anybody tell me glass is having good strength or good toughness?
Toughness, sir.
What is meant by toughness?
A supercoolant liquid.
Supercoolant liquid? No. Okay, forget about that. Again, little bit basic we will go for. Do you know brittleness and ductility?
Yes.
What do you mean by ductility? What do you mean by ductility? Anybody, you can give the answers. These are the very simple questions. What do you mean by ductility?
Strength of material.
Which type of strength? Which type of strength is that ductility is there? So ductility is the strength of that material strength is there, but which type of strength? It's simple. When I take the particular material, and if I stretch that material, it can be converted into wire, or the elongation may be more. We can call it as the ductility is more. Is it right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Then what is mean by brittleness? What is mean by brittleness? What is mean by brittleness?
Metal converts into sheets.
No, that is called malleable. That is the malleability property. Metal converts it into sheets. Metal converts it into wires, ductility. Metal converts it into sheets, that is malleability. But the brittleness, what is the brittleness?
Breaking condition.
Which breaking condition?
Metal breaks at certain point.
Okay, that is correct, but which type of energy is required? Because if you look at the failure of the materials, there are ductile failure may be there, brittle failure may be there, impact failure may be there. So different failures are there. Is it right? So brittleness is nothing but the ability of the material to absorb the impact strength or to absorb the impact energy. Okay, so that is called brittleness, or that is called toughness, to absorb the impact energy. What is meant by impact energy? So let's take the example. All of you are having glass windows. Is it right? Glass windows, all of you are knowing. So if I want to make the scratch on that glass with my pen or with my finger or with some nails, etc., can I make the scratch on the glass easily?
Yes, sir.
Scratch on the glass easily?
No, sir, it is hard to make.
Yeah, on the making the scratch on the glass is very difficult. You require very sharp pointer, you have to force it, and then you have to make the scratch with some little bit more power, etc. But another way, if I take the small stone and if I throw into the particular that glass, what happens?
It breaks.
Why?
It does not absorb
Energy
high
of the stone. Whatever that stone is creating, that energy, that particular glass does not absorb that energy, and because of that less absorption capacity, the glass breaks. So in another words, we can call it as glass is harder, but it is not tough. So these properties, that is good hardness or good strength and toughness, these are opposite properties. Whenever material is tough, that means it's absorb all the particular we can call it as energy, that time it becomes ductile. So if you take the example of steel rod, what happens? If you hammer that particular steel rod, it will not break, it will bend. Is it right? The steel rod will bend. Why? It will absorb that energy initially, and if energy is more, it will bend into the impact direction. So that steel rod is tough, it will absorb the energy and it will bend, but it will not fail, it will not break into the particular two parts. Is it right? So that is called toughness, and the glass, it is having less toughness and high strength again. Then steel rod, high toughness but less strength. So like this, these properties are there. But when you go for forging, whatever the forger parts are there, these are very high good strength and very good toughness also. Take the example of spanner. Spanner is made by the forging. So if you put the spanners from a little bit high on the ground, if you release it, it will stuck to the ground and again it will bounce back, but it will not fail, it will not break into the two parts. But at the same time, the spanner is used for rotating the screws, nuts, bolts, etc. So that will show the greater strength as compared to that. So this thing is called the toughness and strength. And forged parts, if you compare the three parts made, same parts is made by three processes. One is casting, one is forging, and one is machining. Then forging parts are having good strength as compared to the cast part and machined part. Second, cast part, these are having moderate strength because they have prepared through the molten metal, they have prepared through simple we can call it as the new layers of the materials. And whatever the machined part strength is there, it is weaker one. Why? It is prepared through cutting of the materials. Whatever the material layers are there, that layers has been cut, and because of that cutting, the strength is less. So if you look at to strength point of view, forged parts are very high strength. So if I am having that particular diagram, I will show you. Okay, in forging, there are again deformation takes place in which work is compressed between two die. Hot forging versus cold forging. Hot versus or warm forging, most common due to significant deformation, increase in the ductility of the work material. Cold forging, increase the strength that results from strain hardening. So that we have discussed. When forging is done manually in open die, it is called Smith forging. So open die forging is also called as Smith forging. So such alternative words also we should know, because in GATE exam such alternative words may be asked, and at that time we may be in confusion whether this particular part we have studied or not, and later on we realize that yes, we have studied, but we are not knowing this word. So open die forging or open dies are also called as Smith forging. Forging with closed impression die or drop hammer is called drop forging. If squeezing is applied in one stroke with use of press, it is called press forging. And if it is machines are used for offsetting, it is called machine forging. So it's simple. So if press is used, it is called press forging. If hammer is used, it is called drop forging. If machines are used, it is called machine forging. If it is hand squeezing is done by with the help of hand, it is called hand forging. Okay, important methods. So these are the some important nomenclatures are there which we have to identify during this particular forging: open die forging, closed die forging, precision forging, press forging, hammer forging, and last one is the roll forging. And these are the some components that typical forged parts includes rivets, bolts, crank hook, crankshaft, connecting rods, gears, turbine shaft, hand tools, rail rolls, and variety of the structural component used to manufacture industry machinery. Okay, so these are the applications. So let's talk about open die forging. So what is meant by open die? Open die forging is the forging where work is compressed between two flat dies, allowing material to flow laterally. So laterally means the material can flow to this direction, or this direction. X. Okay, only Z direction is restricted with the dies. Material can flow to X direction or Y direction. So in this open die forging, the most important point is that both the dies are open. Both the dies are open means both the dies are flat. These are not having any kind of grooves on that. Okay, no grooves, nothing will be there on the dies. Both dies are flat one. These are again open, no impression was there on the dies, and workpiece is placed in between upper die and lower die. Again, lower die is the stationary die. Most of the times, lower die is the stationary die, and upper die is movable die, which can move upward and downward. Okay, and upper die apply the force on the work material. So from upper side, there are two notations are there. If screen is visible to everybody, there are two notation. One is V, comma F. What is meant by V? V is nothing but the velocity of the upper die. At what velocity that upper die is moving to downward side. And F is nothing but the force created by the upper die. So in that, first is the its own weight. Upper die, its own weight, because without that own weight, upper die doesn't move to downward direction. So its own weight. Generally, whatever these dies are there, these are little bit heavily. These are heavy dies are there, which is used in open die condition or in open dies. Compression of work part between two flat dies. Deformation operation reduces height and increases the diameter of work. So because of this particular action, whatever is shown in the diagram, what happens when upper die moves to downside, definitely diameter will be increased and height of that particular, so this side diameter is going to be increased this side, and whatever this height is there, it is going to be reduced. This should be squeezed. So diameter is increased and height is reduced. Most of the time this is also called as upsetting. This particular phenomenon where the height is reduced and diameter is increased, it is called upsetting. Common names included upsetting or upset forging. So for this, the common name is used as upsetting or upset forging. Second one is closed die forging. So die contains cavity or impression that is imparted to work part. Metal flow is constrained so that flash is created. So what is meant by flash? So flash is nothing but the extra material. So this is the die cavity. Let's say this is the dumbbell. We have to prepare the dumbbell. So this is the upper die, which is having certain grooves on it. Lower die, again it having certain grooves, and in between you have placed this hot material. When the upper die creates the force, material will start to flow in this cavity. But whatever the excess material, so material will start to flow in this cavity first. Material will fill this cavity, upper and lower side, this side and this side. But whatever the extra material is there, that extra material will be this one. It will flow the gap between upper die and lower die, and that extra material is called as flash. So afterwards, we have to cut this particular flash. We have to remove this particular flash. So when this flash is created, it is called as closed die forging. Compression of work part by dies with inverse of desired shape. Flash is formed by metal that flows beyond the die cavity into the small gap between die plates. That is upper die and lower die. Flash must be later trimmed, but it serves an important function during compression. As what is the function of flash? As flash forms, friction resists continued metal flow into the gap, constraining metals to fill the die cavity. So if the metal is kept here at center initially, look at, if the metal is kept here, the metal will flow in this cavity and in this cavity, and after filling this cavity, the extra material will flow to this side and flow to this side. So that will be fall. So first the metal should finish the cavity, metal should fill the cavity, and after filling the cavity, it will reach to the flash condition. Okay, so that's why flash is important. It ensure that the whatever the cavities on the dies are there, it is 100% filled. Then this is the example. So this is the example of closed die forging. So when a rod is heated, and that heated rod is round rod is there, round bar is there. When it placed in this first die, so this is lower die, this is upper die. So in first slot, when it is placed in first slot, and when it is compressed, when upper die is closed, the first such shape will be formed. Then this first part, when it is completed, it is kept into this second cavity, and again die is closed. So the second shape is formed. So from general rod, regular rod, heated rod, firstly this shape is formed, secondly this shape is formed. When it is placed into the third slot, this particular shape is formed. When it is placed into the fourth slot, this particular shape is formed. So this is the actual part. Actually, this is the actual part. Okay, and next to that, so this is the actual part is there, which is useful, but this is the flash. This way I give, if I give the number, this is 6, this is 5. 5 number is the actual part, actual component, and 6 number is the flash, and both are present in fourth particular section. So this is the actual, this is the 5th number, and this is the 6th number flash. So when you cut the flash, you will get the actual part, and whatever this flash is there, it can be considered as a scrap. It can be thrown, or it can be sent to the casting industry as a scrap, and this is the finished part is there, or prepared part is there, it can be used. So from regular rod, so suppose regular rod may be like this, so 0 I am giving here number. So from this regular rod to reach to this final particular part, To this we are required to go for 5 stages. First one, we have to put this into the first cavity. This shape will be prepared. Then it is placed into this cavity. This particular shape will prepared. Put into the third cavity. This shape is prepared. Put into the fourth cavity. This shape will be prepared. So these are the 4 stages. From 0 to 4 we have reached. Then fifth stage is removal of flash. So when flash is removed, you will get this fifth particular condition or fifth rod. So this is called as closed die forging. This is the one classic example of closed die forging. So you might be knowing this such type of hammers. You might be knowing, or this is we can call it as the crankshaft is there. Is it right? So here again piston is attached or cylinder is attached. So when you open the two-wheeler engine or four-wheeler engine, such type of crank pins or crank rods you can observe. Is it right? So this can be prepared through the forging. Then last type of the particular forging is precision forging. This is very little bit difficult forging because work part is completely constrained into the die. No excess flash is created. So here we have to take care about volume of the material. What is the volume of cavity and what is the volume of that heated material? That particular calculation is little bit perfect here we required, because here die is like this shape. It is closed from 3 sides and only one side is open, that is punch we can call it as our upper die. So when punch is removed, this cavity is become open. Okay, and whatever the die shape is there, so die shape is lower side this one and upper side this one. But when you keep the material and if you press the material with the help of punch or upper die, the material will form such a shape. But here if excess material will take place, there is no space for excess material to convert it into flash. So whatever the diameter or whatever the length of this particular part is there, this length or this length may be there, vertical length. So if excess material will be there, definitely this height of the particular part will be increased. So rather, if I put the more material, instead of creating this shape at this level, it may be created at this level also, like this. Is it right? So here the material calculation is very, very important in this particular precision forging. That's why the name is given precision forging. That means here we have to give the concentration on the precision work. Compression of the work in punch and dies tooling whose cavity does not allow for flash. So no flash is generated because there is no gap between die and punch. Starting work part volume must be equal die cavity volume within very close tolerance. So whatever the work volume, material volume and die cavity volume, it must be close, it must be equal. Process control more demanding than the closed die forging. As in closed die forging, if little bit more material is there, it can be converted into flash. But here controls are very important, volume is very important, best suited to part geometry that are simple and symmetric. So here simple and symmetric parts are manufactured. Typical precision forged components are gears, turbine blades, fuel injection nozzles and bearing castings. So large bearings are there, their casings, injection nozzles, turbine blades, gears. So these are the typical examples of precision forging.